Construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nusbaum, and we're here for another episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning the damn house down twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. We're bringing you the pain, we're bringing you the fire that's going to get you to the next level. But it's up to you to go do it and make it happen. As always, I'm super excited for today's episode. I'm excited for our guests. Marty, it is great to have you here today.
Great to be here, Ron.
Why don't you take some time, tell all the construction champions out there a little bit about yourself, what got you here and what excites you about the construction industry?
Yeah, Marty Cornish, founder of WorkPack. We're an AI quantity takeoff solution that's helping construction estimators do their job up to 30 times faster using AI. And I'm excited for the overall construction industry. We're seeing a lot of technology change, but I think the next few years are going to be really, really exciting for the whole industry as a whole.
I couldn't agree more with you when it comes to that. Like it's an exciting time to be in the construction industry and what the future has to hold. So let's dive right in there. We're gonna ask the $1 million question, and that is, what makes a construction champion?
To me, it's really just about delivering for the clients on time, on budget, and maintaining healthy relationships, building those relationships that you can sustain over time. That's really it, right? I mean, delivering for the clients, right? I mean, that's pretty simple to say, but a lot harder to execute.
Absolutely, it's definitely a lot harder to execute, but I think as technology continues to grow here, as you were just alluding to in the beginning, is like we're going to be able to expand this. We're going to be able to deliver better customer experiences and grow as companies, individuals, in an industry as we bring in these new technologies.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think certainly we play right at the center of AI, and so I see a lot of different AI solutions. There's a lot of fear and concern around what AI is going to bring to across industries, but certainly in construction. And maybe to just hit kind of some of those concerns. I mean, it's a co-pilot, it's not autopilot. And I think AI, more than artificial intelligence, it's really just cloud intelligence that we can kind of leverage on demand. And so I think it's going to unlock, we're already seeing it with our product, but we're seeing it kind of in across industries, the unlocking of just massive productivity gains, because we've got this kind of AI assistant or co-pilot able to help us do some of the tedious kind of classification of data and presenting data in a kind of more digestible way that we can then communicate to the rest of the team, and not have to kind of have our own disparate data sets, everybody with their own spreadsheet, with their own kind of like cost structure, that doesn't get shared, and bringing more collaboration to the market as a whole.
Yeah, I love the analogy there of alongside, like working with. I mean, that's how I look at AI. Like it's like you figure out how it just helps make you better and it's there with you. You can't, like, I guess if you have no skills, which we know people in the construction industry have tons of skills when it comes to like going and doing this stuff. So it's like you don't have to worry about being replaced from that perspective. But what you have to worry about is like how much faster and how much better people are going to get when they combine it with who they are.
Totally
Like, to
right.
me, that's what's powerful about AI.
Totally right. Totally right. I mean, it presents the ability for us to do so much more with the data that exists. I mean, all of our solution, detects, measures, counts objects in the plans, and so it enables you to do quantity takeoff far faster. It detects walls, doors, windows, rooms, labels, tables, symbols, and then you can match things up automatically and classify those things, and then in a flexible reporting format. So it gives you the ability to share data in a way that really even to extract data in a way that wasn't really possible before, because nobody's going to like do the tedious work of doing the same kind of takeoff 4 different times to present the data 4 different ways, that each of the, specialty contractors and suppliers are going to need. So, our vision for the product is everybody can work from the same documents and the same data. And so this really only becomes possible with AI as a starting point, whereas people are clicking and tracing on plans. It's a name and a measurement. It relies on the specific estimator who does the work. Whereas, if you detect all of the objects and present them as what they are, it becomes, each person can then do their estimate in a different way. And so, ours is just one example of, how AI is going to change, various industries, but, the workflow is a little bit of a shift. There's just going to be far richer data sets than enable us to do different things, whether it's estimating or it's on-site, construction with cameras and viewing different things or presenting things in different ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast this stuff has evolved and will continue to evolve. What do you say to guys out there that are, hesitant? Like what you were talking about at the beginning,
Yeah.
where like people look at this from the wrong perspective. Like how do we start to bridge the gap in the construction industry as an industry that's always been thought of as, hey, late adapters? I don't
Yeah.
necessarily believe that, but that's what the perception of the industry is. And there's guys
Yeah, I
that
mean,
get
there's got to be
crazy.
ROI. I mean, time is money, so it's got to actually save time. I mean, that's the most important thing. So, I mean, that's the reason. And there's so much risk on the table. I mean, if you're risking losing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars on a construction project, if you make mistakes, people are going to use things that actually work and work over and over again. So, from the risk perspective, of course, everybody should be kind of cautious or kind of pay attention to the risk. From the adoption of new technology side, and kind of the fear around just change, that's not necessarily appropriate, right? Where you do want to be aware of the risk, but you need to be able to change in order to grow. So around the change, I mean, what we've seen is junior estimators and intern level people be immediately successful in our product, and because they don't have the muscle memory around some of the legacy tools. And so what I advise for companies that we work with is to start with those individuals, because they go from below average productivity to above average productivity overnight by using by leveraging the tools. And so then you have an internal case study that says like, okay, well, yeah, now the senior guys should start to manage, and it doesn't necessarily need to be literally senior, but senior
I
estimators, right?
100%. I know everybody listening understands exactly what you're saying. It makes sense.
um, so they can point to like, okay, well, yeah, this is actually going to save me time. The proof is actually there, because for the most productive employees, the time is just so valuable. Everybody's busy. Everybody needs to make sure that they're allocating their time and money towards the things that are most productive. And so there's not just time to just play around with new technology. It needs to actually work. But some of the more junior folks are able to use new tools and adopt them quickly. So I mean that's what I encourage. But I do think, as you say, there are going to be massive competitive advantages across different industries. But the ones who adopt AI are going to be massively more productive than those who don't, and that gives them competitive advantage around delivering speed for the clients ultimately, and turning around pricing faster, being more accurate, being able to kind of work on different things that provide more value to the client ultimately, to deliver on time, on budget, all of that. So.
Yeah, I love the thought process around being able to bring like newer guys up to speed faster, because I
Yeah.
mean that's always a hurt. Like we're figuring out how do you take like new sales reps or your new estimators and
Yes.
get them up to that skill level that your senior guys have.
Yes.
And like
Exactly.
that's one of the biggest things to get, like the bridge to get there to so they can start being successful and start having that impact. And you're talking about being able to just say, boom, like we're going to level this playing field really quickly.
Yeah, Ron, that's exactly it. And the time to train new employees, by the time, I mean, I hear this over and over again, people, by the time they train somebody, a year later, they're moving on to another position. And so if you can shrink that training time, from a year to a month or less, it's like you get the productivity gains out of the new employees, and you keep them engaged because they're leveraging new technology. They can be more efficient in their work. They can feel more productive right out of the gate. So a lot of the younger employees coming out of college now want to be productive immediately. They want promotions quickly. They want to feel like they're making progress quickly because everything has moved so fast. So they need to see, kind of the adoption of technology in order to make that happen. So,
Yeah, they want to come out and just kick ass, but like
yes,
this is a hard industry to do that
very
because there's
hard.
a
Yeah.
lot of like there's just lots of layers to it that you got to kind of work your way through and learn this stuff. And like you said, somebody would spend a year somewhere, feel like they have learned everything they can, but feel capped because like they're competing against that next level, but they can take that experience somewhere else and they feel like they can continue to just kind of bootstrap it up faster. And it becomes a problem, like the retention. And then finally they become that old dog, and wherever they land is where they land. And then they're like the ones ready to go to the pasture at that point in time because they don't want to learn anything new.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and how do you transfer that tribal knowledge, through from, the people who've been around at the companies for a while? How do you communicate that effectively? Are, are you taking advantage of the tools that exist that allow for collaboration? In all of that, throughout the team, externally, there are a lot of people working on construction projects, but which it should be inherently collaborative, but right now because of the tools, we're so often kind of in these silos. So there should be a lot more collaboration both within companies and then externally, so there's more trust and transparency throughout people working on a single project and then throughout the industry as a whole.
Yeah, it can be a very siloed industry, but I think what you were kind of starting to touch on there is something that I think could be a real game changer when you talk about collaboration. How do you transfer this knowledge? What I've found is if you can bring in some young guns and they have like they're doing it a different way, but they're having very, very rapid and good success. You can start to corral some of the legacy, the older guys, like people that have been around and be like, hey, look, like what they're doing is working. And then at the same time with them, be like, hey, these are the guys that paved the way. They have the knowledge. Like, if you guys would just commit to spending an hour or two a week to out just to, hey, pick each other's brains, understand there's something to learn both ways. It makes it less intimidating for the senior staff that are like, I'm intimidated by this software that
Yeah.
they don't know how to operate, but the young guns do. And then at the same time, for the young guns that are intimidated by the senior staff, and they're like, I have all these industries like project specific questions I want the answers to, but I'm intimidated to go ask because probably rough around the edges. Like
No, for sure. I mean, if you're taking time away from somebody who, somebody whose time is far more valuable, right? Who's above you in the hierarchy, then of course they're going to be kind of rough around the edges because they need to protect their time. But if everybody's working in the same system, then and looking at the same documents and the same data, right? PlanGrid did a good job of making it so that everybody was working from the same documents and got some adoption, but and often with the plan storage and sharing, people are working from the same plans usually. You at least hope that problem has largely been solved, but people are working from different data sets on every single project right now. And so, everybody's got their own Excel spreadsheet on their own computer, their own takeoff file on their own computer. And so those aren't even shared within the company unless there's some like backend server. And even then it's like hard to access. And, um, so, if everybody's using the same tools, then those questions can come right in the tool. Those that collaboration can come right in the tool, and then everybody's kind of working on the same page. Everyone is literally on the same page because they're looking at the same data and the same documents. And so I think our tool's fairly new. WorkPack's new. It's a new tool. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to build as we continue to develop this kind of collaborative workflow, for everybody working on the project. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, collaboration is what helps move our industry forward and takes us to where we've never been able to go before, because we've just always been very fractured across the board. A lot of egos, a lot of stuff comes into play, and there's just never really been a call for for everybody just to come together and just say, hey, there's plenty of work out here. We need to figure this knowledge out. We need to get it in one place, and we're better off together. It's the same thing as what you're saying about AI at the beginning, is we're just better off with it alongside us than we're without it. And the senior guys and the newer guys are better off alongside each other than they are independently. And the sooner we can realize that and just start to come together, the better the entire careers for everybody would be.
Yeah, we can win the work together, keep clients happy together, be champions together, right?
Absolutely, man. I love it. So, for all the champions out there listening, if they wanted to connect with you, follow you, hear more about what you're doing, where's the best places for them to do that?
Yeah, workpack.ai is our website. And I'm just Marty at workpack.ai. You feel free, just reach out directly.
Awesome, man. Well, I do have to, I guess I have to ask one question, because at the beginning you referenced 30 times faster, and that has piqued my curiosity. I'd like to know, like, what, if you can even speak into what you guys are doing that creates 30. That's an amazing number.
Yeah,
Amazing
I mean,
result.
there's some amazing stuff in our product. You basically do a quick setup, and then what you can detect with AI in our product is all the walls, doors, windows, rooms. You can also detect labels, tables, symbols. And what you can do with labels and tables is, if you have a door schedule, for instance, or room finish schedule, you can match those labels to the takeoff object in the view. So it does the takeoff, detects the door, detects the room, and then matches that takeoff item to the label. So it groups it automatically, classifies it automatically, and then matches it to the table automatically. So you get all the properties from the schedule, mapped to the object, and that all happens automatically. And you can reclassify or adjust any of the takeoff objects as you want to. But that's how you get that kind of time savings. And it requires doing the setup correctly and the right kind of document. But some of our customers have just massive times. I mean, stuff that took 2 days doing it in 20 minutes, stuff that took 2 weeks, doing it in a day, kind of thing. So it's been fun to see.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, no more having to do all that stuff manually. It happens. I love it. Well, thank you for being on the show, man, and taking the time to join us.
Likewise, Ron. Fun to be here.
Awesome. All right, construction champions, another episode in the bags. Well, I think a great question was proposed is, are you looking at technology or AI or anything as an or situation? Like, it's either me or it, or this guy or that? Or are you looking at it as and? Because that's how we should look at this stuff, is it should be an and situation. It's not that we're ever eliminating something. It's myself and this program that's going to make me better. It's myself, the other sales rep, and list that makes us better. So instead of going into stuff with the mindset of it's one or the other, whether you're looking at employees, software, products, maybe we need to open our minds and start looking at stuff as and. I think it's pretty simple. I think that's a really good one for you guys to go do. So Construction Champions, make sure you go to our website, check out our sponsors, and until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Champions, I am super excited to talk to you about our partner, Contractor Staffing Source. Paul and his team have over 40 years, or Paul himself has over 40 years of experience in construction, and he knows what it takes to not only grow and scale a company, but also hire the absolute best for your company. And with this partnership, we have put together an amazing bundle of free resources, from his free $1 Million Hire course to a free DIS assessment, to a free cognitive ability assessment. All you have to do is go click the links at Construction Champions Podcast or in the show notes for this to access all these free resources. This is the kind of partnerships that Construction Champions Podcast will be bringing. Ones that add value, just like all of our other ones. This one adds massive value to your company and where you're headed in the future, so you can continue to grow and become the champion you were meant to be.